can't help what I'm feeling. I don't know if I'm breathing when you hold me. My heart is beating. I can't stop, give it to me.
Hi everyone, Lawrence here. Welcome to the Pride Project on the Backroom. It's great to be back for another season again. And today, I want to chat with you about a particular book that I personally have found very powerful and insightful over the years. I know it's one that can often be a little bit divisive and has had certain criticism aimed at it over time, but I also know so many people that have read this and gained so much personal insight and so many new values from reading it. And the book in question is The Velvet Rage by Dr. Alan Downs. And this week I thought it'd be great just to be able to share with you some of the insights that have come from this fantastic book. Now, the book itself really talks about the coming out process for many gay men. And it kind of separates that into three different stages. The first stage is being overwhelmed by shame. And this is where there is a lot of denial about who the person is. There's this splitting that happens where, people end up leading something a bit of a double life. They have a lot of secrets about themselves that they don't wish to share. And so they kind of detach themselves from that and pretend to be someone else in order to make sure that double life is hidden away. Then they reach a point where they come out, and you would imagine at that point in time that they would have resolved these issues. But instead, something may happen which is almost the opposite extreme of that. And this is where they begin to compensate. There's a compensation of shame that occurs. And during this period, a lot of gay men might go from feeling that they're flawed and unlovable to wanting to be the best of everything, wanting to have the best car, the best home, listen to the best music, have the best job, have the best body, have the best boyfriend. And it can often be at the cost of being authentic and being vulnerable. It's almost like that there's this projection of them being perfect now. And then as they begin to move into that final stage, it's really about discovering authenticity. And this is where they begin to let go of that and to begin to explore who they authentically are and what brings them joy and meaning into their life. Now, my own personal example of this is that it's not necessarily like you go from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3, and then you stay at stage 3. Quite often you might find that there might be a bit of going to and fro between those particular stages. For example, back in 2016, where we had the marriage equality plebiscite here in Australia, I know that I began to feel some feelings I hadn't experienced in a long time that were quite similar to that stage 1. And that took me a bit by surprise. I wasn't expecting that at the time. And speaking to a few other people, I noticed that they were experiencing it too. And of course, sometimes we get to stage 3, but we'll find that there are things that sometimes bring us back that kind of trigger that need to project our perfectionism instead. And it's great that within this particular book, Dr. Alan Downs covers a few different approaches and techniques that can help us to become a little bit more mindful and aware of that so that we can make sure that we invest our energy into being that authentic version of ourselves. If you haven't read it, I really recommend having a read of it. It might not be your cup of tea. You might be one of those people who can find lots of flaws with it and criticize it. But then you might also be someone who can take away some real nuggets of wisdom and insight that can only make your life so much more richer and meaningful. So go and check it out, The Velvet Rage by Dr. Alan Downs. And I look forward to seeing you next time.